What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is Headbanging Through It, a podcast where we talk about heavy metal and mental health and other hard shit. How's everyone doing? It's been a couple weeks since I've done an episode. I'm doing them bi-weekly now, and the reason for that is because my life is an absolute shit show, and trying to keep up with a full-time job and 2 children and a podcast, among other things that are going on in my life, has become a lot. So I have chosen to do them bi-weekly, which is good and bad, I guess. I miss doing them every week. I feel like I definitely lose track of where I'm at when I'm doing them less often, but it has been better for my overall mental health to take a step back and just breathe a little and have some space between the episodes. It gives me more time to edit them as well and get them done in a timely fashion without as much stress. So that's where I'm at with the podcast. I hope you guys are still tuning in. And if you are, thank you. I appreciate all of you. I do enjoy these talks. I want to keep them going. They're important to me. I think that discussing mental health is a really big deal, and being open and honest about the things that we go through in life, it's important. It means a lot to build connections with people, and connection comes from trust and honesty and growth. I do feel like in society, in the world today, we're lacking that in a big way. So having these conversations it's a big deal. I definitely feel like it is helping me in a lot of ways, and connecting to people that are going through similar things and feel like they don't really have anyone to talk to about it, or that they're alone in what they're going through. And being lonely in this world full of people that are everywhere, we're surrounded by everyone all the time. And yet, as a society, we are lonely. We're struggling. We're sad. We don't feel like we have connections with people. And I would like to promote having these big talks and bringing more people together. It takes a community, you guys. Life is literally about like moving through things together. We're not meant to be alone in this world, and we're all in it. So I'm here to talk about all the things that people feel like they're hard to talk about, or they have some guilt or shame or fear around discussing. Yeah, I've just gotten to a point in my life where all of that stuff has fallen off of me. I look back at my life and I think, wow, I was really messed up in a lot of ways. I made some bad choices. I fucked up a lot, and that's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we change, and that's how we get better. So today I'm going to give an update on my cognitive processing therapy sessions. I'm just about done. I have one left. And I haven't done an update on it since my last mental health episode. I don't remember where I left off, so I'm going to do my best to jump in and give you guys some information on what I've been going through with those sessions in the last few weeks. I think my last one was about sessions 5, 6, and 7. I'm now so I've done 8, 9, 10, and 11 since my last talk, which is a lot. I don't know if I'll go too far into detail about what each session entailed, just because it's exhausting. And honestly, I'm getting really sick of the worksheets, like so sick of them, you guys. I will discuss some things. I'll do my best to give everyone as much information as possible for anyone that is looking at going into taking this program and calling it a program. I want to give you guys as much information as I can so that you have some knowledge about it if you're looking at doing it and deciding whether or not it's going to be a good fit for you. I have had some people ask me questions about it. It is based on trauma and traumatic events, and people that have been diagnosed with or are struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder or chronic post-traumatic stress disorder. There are certain individuals that go through repetitive traumatic events, and then it becomes like a chronic post-traumatic stress disorder based on the fact that like all of these traumatic events have built up over time and created this pattern. And if you haven't dealt with those things, it just like accumulates and it festers and it sits there and it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse, which is what happened with me. I did not deal with it properly or in a very healthy way, and it ended up catching up to me in my 30s, and I hit a big wall and I crumbled. So I am now in my 40s, still figuring out how to navigate it and the best ways to learn to live with it. Yeah, and it's been a lot. And when I first started the sessions, I went into it feeling like I was in this space of, coping. I was coping with it, or so I thought I was coping with it, but I was not coping with it well. And I was sitting in this space of, this is kind of like as good as it gets. I've hit this area of like, I know that I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I know that I have clinical anxiety. I know that I have a panic disorder. And these are things that are long-term that I have to learn to manage. I did believe that I was managing them in an okay way. I know now that that's definitely not true. I did hit a space of like feeling overwhelmed by my panic and anxiety and my nightmares and the things that were coming up. I did have something trigger my post-traumatic stress disorder that completely sent me into a spiral, which is why I ended up back in therapy. And through that, it has been really good for me to learn and grow and see that there is still lots of spaces for me to expand my toolkit, I guess, is like the counselor or therapy kind of term of like ways to help cope. I guess just giving like an overall like overview of the 11 weeks that I've done so far is that I have absolutely made improvements in big ways. My chest pain is very minimal now, which is huge for me. I was really struggling with chest pain every day for years and years every day. And I came to terms with it. I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is just my life. I live with chest pain. So that's my life. And I have to be okay with that. And these sessions have helped me find ways to have relief from that. And I do still have bouts of chest pain, but like very sporadic, and they're few and far between now. They're definitely not daily. And my overwhelm and stress and panic has definitely dissipated in massive ways. I do still have a lot of symptoms. I think around the like midway point, or maybe 3/4 of the way through these sessions, I hit this really big high of like, okay, wow, there's hope for me to get better. I can get better. I can heal from this. There's a future for me out there that looks like a version of me that is free from all of the things that involve my post-traumatic stress disorder, like symptoms and triggers. And I got really high up in this like space of, I got this. I'm going to get better, like 100% get better. It really brought me up in this really big positive way of feeling really hopeful. Then there was a shift. Then I went through this space of like, oh, I'm still experiencing like a lot of things that I was hoping would go away, and had some big talks with my counselor about how there are things that we can bring down, like the loudness of, and turn the volume down on, and learn to manage in healthier ways. And then there are pieces of the post-traumatic stress disorder and the events that I've been through in my life and my career that I may very well carry with me for the rest of my life. So when I hit that point in the sessions of going from like, I feel like shit, I'm really overwhelmed, everything's awful, and this is gonna fucking kill me, to, oh my God, there's hope for me. I can get better. I can heal. These sessions are helping me. I have relief. Everything is going great. I see the finish line. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to be like all the way through it better on the other side. And then coming back a couple of steps from that and realizing, okay, that may not 100% be true. There are things that I'm going to have to continually manage for probably the rest of my life. Put me back into a bit of a slump. And the slump has been really hard for me. I feel like I'm still kind of lingering in it and a little pissed off about the fact that I may not have 100% success, and being okay with that and coming to terms with what that looks like in my life and finding acceptance with that has been really hard for me. Yeah, like a roller coaster, right? I'm just like, I got this, and then I'm like, I don't got this, and then I'm like, I'm getting better, and then I'm like, I'm never gonna get better, and then feeling like really high and really low, and then trying to find somewhere in the middle, right? Like that balanced space of, I have definitely made improvements. I am much better than I was when I started, and and I feel confident that I can cope with my mental health issues moving forward. And then also feeling resistant to finishing the program from that point of like knowing that there may not be like this space of 100% cure, and then feeling a little bit pissed off about why am I still continuing to do this then? Like, what's the point of the last few sessions if this is it? And feeling a little like checked out from my therapy sessions. So my last couple of sessions have been hard. I feel like I have been deliberately not wanting to participate, like feeling like I don't want to do this. I've always felt resistant to doing it because it's hard. But at the end of the day, I had this thought in my brain, this piece of my brain going like, this is good for you, Jamie. You need to keep doing it. You are making improvements and there's hope for you and you've got to keep going. And that momentum kept me in the space of like making sure I did my homework, making sure I showed up for myself, making sure I went to my appointments and I did all the work, to feeling like there was less momentum and less drive to do it when it felt like there was not going to be, that I wasn't going to get to a place that I really wanted to be in at the end. And so I'm not sure if everyone that goes through this program experiences these dips and these pieces in life, it looks the same for everybody, or if it's just how I went through it. I would be interested to hear feedback on that for anyone else that has completed the program. Did this happen to you? And how did you deal with it? I crashed a bit the last couple sessions. I actually didn't finish any of my homework during 1 week, and I was really busy. I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. I do believe that there's also a piece of me that just checked out of it deliberately, like didn't want to do it, didn't care anymore, felt resistant to finishing it, and it was just like, fuck it. If this is as good as it gets, what's the point? Why do I want to put more energy into this if it's not going to serve me any further? I just want to be fucking done with it. It's costing me a lot of money. If I'm already at this point of like, this is where I'm at, then what's the point of doing more sessions and spending more time and money and energy if that is the end of the healing point? Maybe that big crash and talk at the like 3/4 of the way mark hindered some of my progress. I don't know. It was a big reality check for me. I think I needed to have that talk for me personally in my journey through it. I needed to hear those words and have that big conversation of like, there are pieces that may just be there forever, but it also crushed me. It crushed me in a way that made me feel like reluctant to do any more. And consciously, subconsciously, I'm not really sure. I look back at it now and I'm like, I just didn't want to do it. And I was okay with not doing it because I was mad about it. Fuck off. I don't want to do anymore. This last session I had was yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? A couple days ago, maybe. I still felt pretty checked out talking to my counselor about what I was working on. And I did do the homework. I did most of it. I didn't realize there was 2 pages I still had to do that I missed. So that wasn't intentional. I did put in time and effort into doing the worksheets that I was asked to do. And she helped me with them from the previous session because I felt like I was just stuck and like the space in my head was just vacant and I couldn't get any thoughts out and I just didn't know how to focus on it. So she helped me get started on it and then I finished most of it and then we worked through the parts of it that I couldn't complete on my own. That also led us to a conversation of me feeling like if I can't finish these worksheets, the whole point of the program is that when you're done the program, you should be able to do all the work that you're doing in these worksheets in your head as these thought processes come up, as these thought patterns come up, and working through them and reconfiguring them and trying to find ways to tell yourself different versions of the things that you're telling yourself that are a little bit more positive and that aren't soaking with like shame and guilt, and still feeling the feelings that are true to that event or thought process while not adding anything extra onto it that brings you down to that space that will trigger you into your like post-traumatic stress spiral. I was doing really well on the worksheets for most of the way through the program, and then I just got to the end and I was like, I don't know anymore if this makes sense. The finishing part where I'm supposed to like write down a new thought, I just couldn't get it. And it was really frustrating me to the point where I was like, I don't know how to do this anymore. I did say to my counselor, like, I'm a little bit scared to not be able to go out into the world when I'm done this program and be able to do these things on my own. And is it fear of not having help? Is it fear of not having that safe space that I have with a counselor, of being able to talk through what I'm going through with somebody that won't hold judgment and knows how to help me see it in a different way, and I want to be able to do that myself. And that is what I'm working on with these sessions. But I feel like I want to stay anchored in these therapy sessions in the sense that like it gives me security to know that if I can't do it, I have someone to help me. And I think that there are lots of different layers to that thought of like counseling is very helpful. I think there is huge value in being in a space where we feel 100% safe to say whatever the fuck we want and whatever we need without judgment, and just like throwing all of our thoughts out into the open. It makes you feel visible, right? It helps you feel seen in all of the things that you're thinking and feeling. And it validates all of the things that you're going through. And that's huge when you're dealing with something really hard. It's huge. And I do have people in my life that hold space for me. It's not the same though. It's not the same as these sessions where you have a professional that knows all the ways to navigate these systems and thought patterns and nervous system issues. It's not the same as when you just like have a little chat session with a friend or a family member or somebody close to you. You don't always get the same feedback, right? You don't always get the feedback that you feel like you need or that feeds you or helps you feel like it's going to be okay. And there's just something to be said for what counselors and social workers and these professionals in these places do for us. They're a really big deal. I think that what they do is amazing. It has helped me immensely over my lifetime. And I cannot stress that enough. I know I've said that multiple times across most of my episodes. I do think that counseling is a really big fucking deal. And I have never gone and regretted it. I've had sessions that weren't my favorite. I've had counselors that I didn't have the best or the strongest connection with, and I've had to like shift and change spaces a few times. I have never regretted a single interaction that I've had with a counselor or therapist in my lifetime. Every single time I go, it's helpful. If you're thinking about it and you're waffling with it, I say 100% it's worth it. Give it a shot. If you find someone that you feel safe with, that's amazing. If you go and you don't feel a connection with somebody, there are lots of different options out there. Don't give up. Keep looking. There are definitely people that will help you work through the things that you need to work through and give you the space and that safe feeling that you need and deserve to heal through whatever you're trying to heal through. Just like interactions with regular people in the world and friendships that we make throughout our life, we connect with some people right away and some people we don't. That's just personalities and who we are as humans. Sometimes you just know you're going to get along with somebody and it's instant. And then other times you're like, I don't get this person. I don't know where they're coming from. Everything they say doesn't click with me. And that is the same in therapy sessions too. Like sometimes it just isn't a right fit and you have to keep looking for the person that is the right fit. But just because you go once and it isn't great or it doesn't feel like it clicks, doesn't mean that there isn't someone out there for you that will help you find that space and bring you that level that you need to be at. That's my pep talk for anyone thinking about going into therapy. Do it. Give it some time. Don't give up. It is a really big fucking deal to show up for yourself. It's really fucking hard. And sometimes it doesn't work out the first time. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be helpful for you in some way, shape, or form down the line. CPT, the last few weeks are like more specific to certain things that we have to focus on. I think I talked about that in my last episode. It was like trust, and then there's like power and control, and there's fear, like safety and fear. And then there is the one that I basically quit on was, I think, about self-esteem, which is hilarious to me now because I'm like, well, I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to look at my self-esteem. I don't want to look at how I talk to myself. It's probably the session that I needed to do the most work on and that I probably needed to put the most energy into, and the one that I resisted and avoided and literally didn't do. So when I think about that, I think about, okay, well, that makes sense because I don't feel ready to look at that stuff. I just don't want to look at it. And that's no excuse, right? Usually the stuff we don't want to look at and we don't want to do is the stuff that we need to do the most. And I know this because I've been through these things over and over and over and fucking over again in my life. And it's always the same. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it until it fucking hits you in the face like a 2x4. And you're like, fuck, I need to look at this because it's literally going to fucking kill me if I don't. That's the story of my life. I hated it, you guys. I fucking hated it. I had to sit down and like work through. I'll get my book. Okay. Yeah. So I had to do trust. That was hard. Esteem. Yeah. Esteem issues. Okay. So the week that I didn't do was about, esteem. Esteem beliefs related to self. Beliefs in your own worth. Such beliefs are a basic human need. being understood, respected, and taken seriously is basic to the development of self-esteem. And then esteem beliefs related to others, beliefs about how much you value other people. Realistic views of others are important to psychological health. So I really struggled with this because how I view other people is like not usually super great based on what I've been through in my life. I have really low outlook on the world and humans as a whole, and I have a lot of issues around men and power struggles. And like, as a woman, I need to do a whole fucking episode on women and existing as a woman in this world and feminism and what feminism has like turned into now or become, or different generations view as feminism, and a lot of things around that, because there are some things that have come up with me personally just in the last few weeks that I'm like, what the fuck about women in like the millennial generation. It's a big conversation, and I feel like I should have someone on the show to discuss it with me and just bash around some thoughts and ideas about what women are doing right now and what is like positive for women and empowering and what is demeaning and undergrading, because there are women out there that claim to be feminists that are actually like demeaning and undergrading the rest of the women out there that are okay and happy to be doing things that are considered just the women role things, like being a stay-at-home mom or having babies, right? Like there seems to be this whole wave of women coming out into the world that are like, I'm better than that. And that's not feminism, in my opinion. That is just being an asshole. And you do you in your world. Like if you feel like I want more than that and you don't want to have kids and you don't want to, be a stay-at-home mom and you have other choices that make you happy, that's great. And I don't believe that it is healthy or considered feminism to bring down other women that make those choices and are happy in those choices. So I would love to have a full episode on that and what's happening in the world with women, because I feel like overall as a sex, women, we need to bring each other up. We're already seen as the lesser sex and the weaker sex and the more powerless and helpless and not as worthy, and we're still getting paid less than men in a lot of fucking places across the world, which is bullshit. We have to prove way more than men are worth, I believe. That's my opinion, over and over and over again in this world, right? It feels like we're constantly in the state of, I have to do all these things. As a woman, I'm supposed to be this way, and then I don't feel valued, and I feel like I don't do enough, and I'm not good enough because I don't provide like my husband or the men do. And that's a big conversation, and I would definitely feel like a whole episode worth of talk could be put into that. But some of this stuff came up in this esteem week for me personally, just based on my existence as a female in this world and how I feel like I am, leveled against and next to men in not just my career and my past, but how I exist now. And am I doing enough with the career choice that I have with my own business that I'm running now, and then also raising 2 kids and running the fucking house and doing all these other things and activities and a podcast, and feeling like I'm in 16 different places at once and still not bringing enough to the table, and trying to sort out in my sessions, like, is this PTSD related, or is this just me? Like, as a woman, is this just regular female stuff that, lots and lots and lots of women go through? So trying to pick these pieces apart, it was really difficult, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff with my post-traumatic stress disorder that is wrapped up in esteem based on my work and what I went through in these traumatic events too, and watching over and over and over again for years and fucking years and years and years, men continually be the primary reason that all of the files that I worked through in my job existed, right? Like men hurting women, men hurting children. And I'm not saying that there weren't women doing other things as well. There were, but the majority, and this is fact, was male. It was male based, right? And so through years and years of exposure to these things, I developed a very serious fear of men. And through that have really pushed myself back and away from having any sort of healthy male relationships in lots of areas of my life. That was hard to look at, because growing up, most of my friends were male. I love my male friends. I have so many friends out there that I consider brothers from other mothers. We're like this. And I definitely don't connect with them as much as I used to. And I feel like that is a huge piece of something that I need to look at and work through and build trust back into my life with these people that I've pushed myself away from. I also realized through this session that I don't have a lot of trust for myself anymore, which was really hard to look at too. Navigating the world and navigating just my existence is really hard because my post-traumatic stress disorder is really loud. Like my symptoms with it are really big. And when I feel fear and overwhelm and anxiety, and then I go into panic mode, everything shuts down. And then I also have these spaces where I feel fear and anxiety and a little bit of stress around something. And I don't always know if it's like a regular type of stress that everyday average people would experience, or if I'm being triggered by something and then am I going to spiral? So I have stress around trusting my intuition and understanding what pieces of my reactions are at a normal level and what are at a not normal level and related to my PTSD. And that's exhausting. It was like a really big emotional kind of crushing thing to look at, just not feeling like I can trust if my reactions are accurate. That's something that I have to just learn to navigate through the rest of my life as well. That was one of the things that like, well, that might never go away, Jamie. That's something that you might just always have to be aware of and try to look at really closely and pinpoint and then work through as it comes up. I'm getting better at it, but also I don't really know sometimes if I am overreacting or if I'm just regular reacting. It's kind of scary to know that my system is just always wanting to go into overdrive all the time. And I don't want to live like that because it's really exhausting. It's really hard on my nervous system. It's hard on my body. It's hard on my family. It's just like an exhausting way to live. Yeah, I am doing the work on that and it fucking sucks. I know that when like there's a big lightning storm and everything starts crashing around me and it's loud outside and I start freaking out because the noise makes my heart rate and makes me sort of feel kind of really stressed out, that there are levels of that are normal. Like, okay, thunder and lightning, and we live in an area where the fucking power goes out all the time when there's a lightning storm. That awareness of like, oh, I might have to, we live on a well. We don't have water if we don't have power. So that whole like, I might have to prepare for the power going out and going into go mode of like, how do I organize this and let's prepare for if the power goes out, to like full panic mode of like, oh my God, there's a storm coming. It's windy. There's trees are going to fall on our house. We're all going to die, right? Like that's not normal, Jamie. And I know a lot of people do have fear around that kind of stuff. Like it is possible where I live, there are storms like that all the time. Trees take down fucking power lines and land on houses on a regular basis out here. Every year we have a big storm that usually does some damage. So I know that some of that is like regular fear around just knowing and understanding the environment that I live in. And then there are also pieces of that are a little bit like out of the normal stretch of what you should be perceiving to happen during a fucking storm. And like big bangs, somebody lit off like fireworks or something in my neighborhood. I live in a really quiet neighborhood now, and somebody lit off like firecrackers or fireworks the other night at 11 o'clock at night, and I thought it was fucking gunshot. I went into like full panic attack mode. My heart exploded like through my ears. I was like sweaty and my heart was racing, and I was just like fucking like trying not to lose my mind. So, there's levels. Sometimes I have interactions with things and my system just goes full board up one side of the crazy wall and down the other. And then other days I'm like, I can talk myself through it. Okay, it's just thunder and lightning, Jamie. Like nothing bad's going to happen. And also I have to get to a space of understanding and accepting that bad things do happen and that there are so many pieces of the world that I have no control over. If I focus solely on the bad things that could potentially happen all the time, I won't live my life. I've talked about that before, saying no when it serves you, and then also making sure you say yes so that you don't actually like not live your life at all. We have to exist in the world. I focus a lot on the bad things that might happen because I know the world is a scary place. That's a fact. Bad things do happen out in the world. They happen every day. I've seen it. I know it. It exists. It's true. And I also go out into the world every day and don't normally see bad things happening. For the most part, when I leave my house, I don't see crime and bad things happening. Most of the time, my days are very average. Although I don't go out a lot, I do admit that. And that is something that I also have to work on. And we discuss in my counseling sessions of like, if you keep your world really small, then, your life is going to be very small. I have to get better at going back out and just like experiencing life and being okay with existing in the world and not expecting that it's going to be doomsday every day, because every day isn't doomsday. I think when you have post-traumatic stress disorder from working in emergency services, it's really hard to not have that sort of thought lingering in the back of your brain. I don't know if that's ever going to go away. I think that's one of those pieces that may just live with me forever. I have to find a way to be okay with taking chances and like living life and existing and not expecting that it's going to be all bad. I can't protect myself and my family and my kids from bad things happening. I just can't. We're not capable of that as human beings, you know? Yes, there are things that I do preventatively so that I limit my exposure to things. That also keeps my world really small. We talked about that a lot. Your world is really small because you don't go and do things. It can be really lonely. I don't want to live in a bubble. I would like to, I have big dreams too. I'm not that young, but I'm not that old either. I have a lot of life I hope to live still, and I would like to live it large, or at least live it medium, not small. I'm not going to cry in this episode. So things that I am working on. These are the things that I'm working on. These are the things that I have to look at still. These are the things that I'm going to have to continually have conversations with myself and others about so that I can pump myself up and find some confidence in the world again, find these spaces that I'm not going to cry, find these spaces that bring me joy and feel like I have some freedom to not have to plan out everything and have some spontaneity and being okay with these moments that don't make sense and just jumping into them. That is what life is about, right? Like sometimes the best things in life happen spontaneously and in the moment. I'm not going to cry in this episode. And I stopped living in the moment a long time ago. And I don't want to be a mole, you guys. I don't want to be a mole. I don't want to live in a deep, dark hole for the rest of my life. That's not who I want to be. Fuck. I'm crying. Damn it. Okay, so self-pep talks, lots of self-pep talks. I want to keep showing up for myself, not just in therapy, but outside of therapy. I really want to work on finding ways to just feel confident again in my ability to exist and to be a human in the world and go out and live and to just stop hiding. I started going to therapy because I felt like I hit a wall, and I didn't realize that I was just like actually existing in this little tiny room, and the walls were just like all around me really close. Like I am the wall, basically. You guys, I didn't realize that. I don't want to say I didn't realize it was that bad, because that sounds like really sad and negative, and I don't want to look at it like that, because I existed in a way that really helped me just live, and it was safe for me in those moments, and I did what I had to do to survive, and I don't have shame or guilt around that. I don't look at it and think, wow, I was doing it wrong. I look at it and think I was doing it the best that I could given where I was at in my life and my healing and just with my mental health. And it's good that I went back to therapy, because I definitely needed to find a way out of that tiny room. And I'm not in that tiny room anymore. So that is great. That means that I have come somewhere. I don't know where yet. Not into the big wide open fields of life, but I'm definitely not in the tiny room anymore. I'm probably out of the building, or at least like close to leaving the building. I'm not really sure. But that is kind of just like where I'm feeling in this whole program of like, I am making steps forward. I am getting myself into these new areas where I feel like I'm going to be a better version of myself. I already am a better version of myself than I was 3 months ago. So winning, coming to terms with, there's always hope, and I have to find acceptance with the pieces of my existence that may not shift. I can keep working on it. I can keep working on it and see what happens. And that's the space that I want to be in, is like, nothing in this world is permanent. I am in the driver's seat. I am the one that gets to choose what comes next and what that looks like. Each day is going to be a little bit different. I think some days I feel like I don't want to go any further. And then I have other days where I'm like, I'm going to fucking do more. I'm starting to have more interactions with people out in public. I am going to some sort of social events. I did a social event yesterday. My kid's in soccer now, and I have to talk to parents every weekend. So that is like something that I don't usually do. I have a couple of new people in my life, so new friends. I don't usually let anyone new come in. I don't have a lot of trust for people. So growing, right? Like I feel like a little bit every day it kind of changes, and I just have to take it as it comes and take deep breaths and know that I get to choose. I guess that's where I'm at, is I get to choose today how far I want to go and how much space I want to bring in and how far I want to go out that door. Baby steps. Am I better? I don't know what the word better means. I know that I'm definitely better than I was. Am I better? I don't know if that is a thing with post-traumatic stress disorder. For me, I have come so fucking far that I have to give myself props for that. I have to focus on that and not the tiny little piece that may still be stuck with me or a part of me for days and years moving forward. That is part of my post-traumatic stress disorder too. Is like doomsday seems to be so much bigger than all the rest of it. And in reality, that's not true. There's so much more good out there that I kind of put my blinders onto because I feel like the doomsday stuff is so much louder. That I think is just like my system honing in on it from years and years of always being around it, of like, I know that these things are happening and I'm very hyper vigilant about those things. When I'm out in my peripheral, like that is what happens. My eye span will just go and that is what I see. That my system is like, you have to watch out for these things. I think that might just be built into my system from fucking years of being in emergency services. And I don't know if I can unwire that part of me. I think there's a piece of me that maybe doesn't want to, because there is a part of me that makes me feel like it keeps me safe, knowing that I have this alertness to me that there could be potential danger in these situations. I'm trained in that. I do feel like there are pieces of that keep me safe. I don't know if I want that part of me to switch off. I also realize that part of me is sometimes a huge fucking pain in my ass, because if I'm always looking for these warning signs and red flags and signals saying danger, 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 how do I ever relax? There it is, the spider web that I fucking exist in. At least I'm aware of it. At least now I have a lot more conscious thought around, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. I know that I'm doing these things, and maybe, turn the volume down on that a little bit and just like be at the park, Jamie. It's a lot to look at. It is fucking hard. It's been hard. I have 1 week left because I didn't finish the week on my self-esteem stuff. I had to add another session on to the end. So we did that session this week. And then I have one more now that I have to do, which is like the wrap up session. And I'm not really sure what that entails. I have some homework, and then I just saw my counselor actually emailed me with more homework that she forgot to give me. But she's gone on vacation for, I think she said 3 weeks. I can't remember when my next session is, but it's not for a while. I have time, which actually felt like a bit of a relief too. I feel like that piece of me that was really clinging on to this program and knowing that it was kind of keeping me in a safe space of feeling like I can do this if I have help. And then I didn't do my homework. I fell apart, and then I didn't know we were going to have to add another one on. So we had to add another one on, and then she's gone. So I can't do that other one for I think it's at least 3 weeks. And that gave me relief. I was like, okay, so I have like more time, and I know that I'm not done yet. It makes me feel like, I don't know, a little bit more at peace with it coming to a close, if that makes sense. It seems like it was just a lot really fast, and every week was overwhelming, and lots of stages of it were too much. I felt like too much, too fast, too much, too fast. Like I could have maybe used a couple of breaks in between some of the sessions. I also know and realize that it's like put that way for a reason, so that you just keep going and you do the work and you show up, and it helps you kind of hammer through these ideas. It's very repetitive, and the repetitive part of it I think is very important. But I definitely like hit that wall, and then I didn't want it to end, but also I'm fucking sick of it. And the way it's worked out has been good for me, I think, because I'm like, okay, now I have a little bit more time. I'm not done yet. I have a couple weeks off, so I can just kind of chill and like do my homework at a slow pace, and then we'll have a wrap-up session, and that'll be it. She also said to me too, and I think she said this just to give me a little bit of reassurance, because I was obviously having some stress around like not having any more sessions after that. I could always go in and do like a check-in session whenever I want. And of course, right, like I think that therapy should be open-ended, especially if you do struggle with mental health stuff. There are things that come up. It's not like, okay, we're done here, bye, see you later, forever. And I think with that program, there's a piece of it that felt that way too. Like it's 12 weeks and then you're done. So I think her throwing that out there was kind of like throwing me a bone to say, if you need anything, you can always come back. And it did make me feel like a little bit better in that moment. I was like, okay, she's still here for for me. If I need anything, I can come back. And also, it's really expensive, so I probably won't unless I really need to. But just saying that, like just having that, you are welcome to come in anytime. Just the words I think I really needed to hear in that moment. And that just gave me this sense of like, okay, it's going to be okay. She's not just like been cutting the tie and like you're done, right? I feel like the pressure of feeling like I needed to be confident and feeling well enough to like be successful in this stuff that I'm learning to do on my own was like a lot to just be like, okay, it's over. Go out into the world, right? Like, you know, when you're graduating fucking high school and you're like, now what do I do? I need some guidance. So that's where I'm at. That is the end point of my sessions. I'll do one more podcast on my last session and wrap up session and just let you guys know how it all comes together at the end. I have to rewrite an impact statement like I did at the very beginning. I have to rewrite it from my perspective now. And then I think she said we compare the two of them to see like what it looked like at the beginning and what it looks like now. And I know that there's lots of pieces that are very extreme that were like pretty intense at the beginning that now won't be that way anymore at the end. And I think it's just a way to show how much you've improved and how far you've come in these sessions, which I already know. It is hard sometimes to focus again, like on all the improvements when there's still like lingering stuff that you're like, oh, well, but what about this? I'll be interested to see how it all wraps up in the end and what it looks like at the last session. So I'll give you guys an update on that when I'm done. And just like another probably overview on like how I'm feeling being through it and actually over and where I'm at with if I feel like now I can do all the things that I'm supposed to do. I think regardless at the end of the day with all of this stuff, I have zero regrets doing this program. It has changed my life in really good ways. So even if I don't go out of it like 100% feeling like I fucking got this, I definitely am at least 80% there. And I think that at the beginning, I was 0. So that's a huge, huge improvement. Between now and then, I'm going to be doing some other mental health talks on other things. Maybe I'll do one on feminism. I have been to a high school graduation in the last week as well. My best friend's daughter graduated last week. Jasmine, you're never going to listen to this, but if you do, I fucking love you and you're beautiful. And I'm so proud of you. And all the kids were just stunning and fucking badass. And I definitely don't think I was as cool as in high school as these kids are. And so I've had a lot of interactions with a lot of teens in the last few years because my best friend's got 3 grown fucking children that all just went through like crazy teenage years. But I have a lot to say about teenagers and how they're existing in this world and what they're doing and just like the joy and the hope that they bring me and how I just am really impressed with that generation. I can't say as much about the generation above them. I don't know what they're doing, but this generation, I have like some big feelings about. So maybe I'll do an episode on that. I don't know, mental health and teens and like what keeps them going. And fuck, I wonder if any of them would come on the show and talk to me. That could be interesting too. They want to talk to an old lady like me? Maybe not. But anyways, yeah, if you guys have a topic you want to throw at me, if you want to come on the show and have a talk with me about mental health or anything hard or something that you find difficult to talk about that you want to have a conversation about, I'm open to all of it. I love having guests. I definitely want more guests. Yeah, you guys, if you aren't following me on social media, hit me up at Headbanging Through It on Instagram and Facebook. Also give me a follow on Spotify. I have a YouTube channel now, you guys. I'm trying to get some shorts up, but I have no fucking time to do this shit. It is exhausting. But please like, subscribe, follow all the things, and check back for more episodes on mental health and heavy metal and other hard shit. We'll headbang through it next time. Peace.